Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Hi, my name is Sharyn Bovat, and I just want to talk about something that was pre-Becky Richards. I'm so grateful that you're there. I was a target of Prism surveillance. I was leaked to me. I was told my life was the Truman Show, and I didn't understand it until I saw the Snowden movie. And then I kind of had a nervous breakdown. I sat in a fetal position, and I just cried, and I didn't know what to do. And I tried to get lawyers. I tried to get help, but people kept saying, well, you're not supposed to know about it. There's really nothing you can do. And I went to my members of Congress that weren't aware of this type of surveillance happening in America. And then when I found out there was nothing, I didn't do anything, but I do interact with people. I get it, but what I wanted to always find out are political, and I found out in my situation, people that wanted to be future political appointees, people connected to political appointees, have access to this data. Is there any way that we can protect that data, the PRISM data, on American citizens? And I want to fight back because they said, Sharyn, you're like a rape victim. You need to get some justice, and maybe the only justice I can get is to make sure that political appointees, people that want to work in politics or get an appointee, are not viewing PRISM data or have access to be who's targeted. Thank you. If you have any comments, I'd be grateful.
I think, let me start, and let me reframe the question if that's all right, because I don't think, although correct me if I'm wrong, there's any basis for a potential employee to have access to raw intelligence in the community. You can tell me from your reviews whether that's true or not, but perhaps the underlying import of the question is, how do we protect against abuse of access to intelligence data?
I mean, and that's a really important question that we worry about all day, every day. And so we have a number of layers of processes, starting with training our employees when they walk in the door with what the authorities are, what are U.S. persons, how do we protect those, and then having compliance checks all the way through the process, whether it's something as two people have to put their eyes on it before we decide that we want to actually target an individual for collection, or whether there's things like these technical sort of post-query reviews. There's a number of these safeguards in place as it relates to specifically raw SIGINT, and that's just within NSA. And then you have a number of these different oversight organizations that are then making sure that what NSA has said they are doing and those protections are in place are also being checked, whether it's by Justice, whether it's by ODNI, whether it's by Congress, or now by FISC or the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board. So there are a number of very specific oversight mechanisms put in place to make sure that how we're using the raw signals intelligence is consistent with the authorities that have been provided. And employees have the ability to talk to anyone with the Inspector General. They can actually come to our office or our General Counsel's office if they have any concerns that either they have done something wrong or that they feel someone else is doing, so that there's a place for people to have those conversations.
Sharyn, Peter, we raised this idea of political abuse being one of the things we really want to avoid.
I have some stuff. Do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I hope, I mean, if what you're saying is a sad story, and I don't know the facts of your story. Our review showed beginning around 2009, there was a big spike up in the number of compliance personnel in the compliance office at NSA. And we also specifically did a lot of look to see whether there was any sign of political targeting of any of the NSA stuff. We had, among our 5 members, 2 people with years and years of experience in the intelligence community. And we looked for this because if we found political tampering, that's super worrisome. We found no evidence of political tampering with the intelligence information at all. So I'll just say I was looking at something I've worried about for years and written about for years. I found no evidence to think that it was being used that way based on our review.
And the board's review similarly did not find any such abuses of that kind.
I think that, the question also speaks to a broader problem, which is lack of redress, right? When we talk about, let's say, people overseas, the Judicial Redress Act is not going to provide that much because there are national security exceptions. In the U.S., if you have a complaint, what are your avenues for redress? And to me, I think that's an area where we need to do a lot more work.
That's great. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Kyle Erickson. Thank you all for being here.